Hey, it's Becky. I recently moved from one Brooklyn apartment to another. It's my 10th in-town move in 13 years as a New York City resident, and brought to mind so many tips I'd like to share with you about apartment hunting and moving here I've learned along the way. Start researching listings early to get a sense for what you like and don't, but be open-minded about the specific location at first. Aggregator sites are great, and most can send you emails as new apartments matching your search criteria show up in their database. Make a list of your feature priorities, including low priority features, which could be used as trade-offs to achieve your high priority features. For instance, you may value a short commute time and large building amenities over square footage, or you may prefer a small building with a private yard and fewer neighbors. Your money will go further if you're willing to walk a few more blocks to the train or ride a few more stops. It's a common misconception that you have to live in Manhattan when you move to New York. I thought that when I moved here for college, and it couldn't be further from the truth. The transit network here runs 24/7 and rarely shuts down any of it without providing a viable alternative. You could use this nifty interactive transit time map on WNYC's website to see how long the subway commute is from anywhere in the city. And Google Maps does all the bus routes and cycling paths, so that's pretty cool for research too. If you're moving here from out of town, I recommend visiting for a full week for apartment hunting or assigning a friend you deeply trust to look at properties on your behalf. Real estate here moves really fast, so it's usually pointless to visit apartments more than 3 months before your move. Get your application materials together before you visit any properties. That way, if you like something, you can submit an application very quickly. The real estate market here is dominated by brokers. These folks match up landlords and tenants, and they charge somebody a fee, usually the tenant. You can work the total fee into the cost of a place you intend to stay for at least a few years. A broker's fee is negotiable, usually anywhere from 1 month's rent to 15% of the annual rent. If the listing is by a broker but there is no fee, then the landlord hired the broker to find a tenant. When you go to look at apartments, whether it's with a broker or with the owner, bring a notebook and take a note of the water pressure in the shower, how up to date the electrical panel looks, and the type of heat. It's common for heat and hot water to be included in the rent here, but the rule of thumb is that if you control your heat, you most likely directly pay for the utility that runs the heat. If you really like a place and are considering putting in an application, also take note of the noise level from the street or neighbors, preferably at multiple times a day. Check if the door buzzer works, is there a sink sprayer, and what type of internet is available at the address, and is there access to laundry in the building or nearby. Before submitting an application, you should research the building's address for its history of code violations and complaints. This can highlight a well-maintained building and also raise big red flags that you should not ignore. This last round, we saw an awesome loft, but it had a lot of complaints about the lack of timely repair of the elevator, which is a big deal for my knees. Another thing you can do is stake out the building's entrance in the daylight and approach current residents with something like, "Excuse me, I just looked at an apartment in your building and I was curious if there's anything you wish you knew before you moved in." Not everyone will be willing to talk to you, but those who do will provide a much clearer picture of what it's like to live there. Do the math to work out the total cost of each apartment you're considering, including utilities. Your gas bill might only be $20 a month if it's only your stove, or a lot more if it's also your water heater or heat. Likewise, your electricity cost will vary by the size and ceiling height of your place, should you choose to air condition it. Landlords are looking for tenants who can pass a background check with good credit and who can prove they earn 40 times the monthly rent as their yearly income. If that's you, you have some negotiating leverage about the start date of your lease if you want to optimize your overlap with your current place. I'm not a lawyer, but about the lease, just don't sign anything you don't understand or that seems counter to what's been presented to you about the apartment. If there's anything that needs to be fixed before you move in, make a record of it and ask to include its repair in your agreement. As if finding an apartment here isn't complicated enough, let's talk about moving. Start packing early and have multiple boxes going at once. Pack items so the whole box can be tipped on its side or upside down without breaking or spilling stuff everywhere. Label the box with its contents and use a colored sticker system along with a floor plan drawing of your place to identify its intended destination. My favorite packing materials are blank newsprint paper and that moving shrink wrap on a roll, which is probably terrible for the ocean. I'm so sorry. It's a lot more efficient to get rid of stuff before you move than after, so I always do a pretty big purge while packing. I list free stuff on Craigslist, or I look up how to throw them away. I wanted to say proper goodbye to the boxes. This big pile, that's really great, a box full of boxes. It's what we call recycling night. And then we have to bundle these up, right? I don't know about you, but I have a lot of stuff, and it's only okay to ask your friends to help you move if you don't have a lot of stuff, so I recommend hiring movers. They'll need an inventory of your stuff to provide you with a price quote. You should book a date 2 or 3 weeks in advance if your moving date's not flexible, because they get busy towards the end of the month. At the same time you book movers, check to see if your gas needs to be turned on at the new place, because that's an appointment you have to book in advance as well. When you get the keys, make copies and give a set to a friend in case you get locked out sometime in the future. Prepare for moving day by changing your address with the post office, your bank, your employer, and then call to transfer, cancel, or start service with the electric, gas, and telecom companies. Pick up some sports drinks for your moving crew and cash for tipping them after they're done. On moving day, keep a clipboard with the floor pan handy as well as a set of tools in case you need to take something apart to get it out of a small space. Wrap the furniture in moving blankets to protect it on the truck. Place your floor plan at the entry to make it easy to reference while you're carrying something heavy, and be available to answer any questions that might arise, but the labeling system really helps streamline the process. After you're done moving in, you have the fun challenge of hanging things on the walls. We mounted this pot rack to our kitchen brick wall using masonry anchors and drilling into the mortar only where possible. I also learned that we have metal studs, which meant I got to learn how to use snap toggles to mount my bike hanger. Instead of buying a new couch, we got a new slipcover from that website that has patterns for pretty much every IKEA sofa ever made. My final tip is to have a housewarming party, which will encourage you to get that last bit of unpacking done. Do you have any advice about moving where you're from? I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Yay! Good job, Dad! He's like, I was overthinking it.
No, they're boxes.
Just had to go for it.